Oh, you are? We're good?
What?
Never mind. Welcome all to the Vaile House. So lovely to have you all here. Very excited because Guillaume is stepping up to the plate and he's going to be our speaker for the evening to guide us in our discussion around the tools of empowerment. Please, there's always food, but we're starting to ask people to remember to clean their dishes before and put them away so we have enough for the whole night. But please, this is a safe space, so please be comfy and give it up for Guillaume.
Yay! Alright, I'm pretty happy you guys could all make it tonight, and I'm really excited to share some tidbits of knowledge that I've come across that have really helped me in my own personal life. And gonna start with a little disclaimer. I'm very much of a student still, and I don't claim to have all of the answer. There's a million things that I don't know, but there are some things that I picked up, and I'm happy to share them. And it's actually my first thought tonight. That's not on a school system where you get grades and all that kind of thing.
I'm gonna grade you.
Oh yeah. Well, my grades actually is if there are some tools that I'm able to share and that you guys pick up and use to make your life a more fulfilling experience.
Empowerment.
That's
an A+.
that's an A+ for me, for sure. All right. So tools of empowerment are how to get more of what you want in life. So that's a pretty big question, and I feel like before we get started, one of the most important things to do is actually be clear on what some of these terms mean. And things like empowerment are a pretty broad concept, and it's important to look into what the definition of those things are. So, what is empowerment? Empowerment means enabling yourself. In other words, to can more than you could. You can empower yourself and make your life a happier, more fulfilling experience. You can also inspire others to empower themselves. When we empower each other, we all live happier lives together, and everybody wins. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Something you want?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, I kind of figured, because it's part of our human condition to want happiness. All of us want happiness, and we go about it in different ways. But ultimately, we all want to be happy. And so, empowerment. What is power exactly? What is power? So, power is the ability to do something or to act in a particular way. So power is this kind of freedom that you get for the ability to create your own reality. But let's define it a little further. Power is the ability to do something or act in a particular way. Well, what is that something? Like something that's kind of broad, that's like, it could be anything, really. So, to empower ourselves, we need to have a little bit more of a practical thing that we can do to have some clarity on that. So, is that good enough? Is that good enough, like something? Nope. Clarity is power. Something just isn't good enough. So, let's define why we want to be empowered. So, why we want to be empowered is different for probably everyone here. We all have some different thing that we want. And so, for each person here, there could be a different answer to that. So, why do you want that freedom? Why do you want that freedom to create your reality? Let's do this right now. let's define why you want to be empowered. So we're going to start with vision, defining your desire. So ultimately, power is worthless when you don't know what you want to do with it. It's kind of like giving a Vitamix blender to a little kid. Like, Vitamix is a powerful machine, and it can make delicious smoothies and all these recipes, but a 3-year-old probably won't make a delicious smoothie out of it. So I'd like you right now to kind of just imagine your inner child. Your inner child when you were about 7 or 8 years old, and that Christmas was coming around. And you know that you can get anything that you want, and there's no limitation. And there's absolutely nothing that you cannot get. You feel that little kid inside of you that's just so excited. It's coming. This thing's coming.
Nintendo.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you guys. So right now we're gonna do a little vision exercise. So I'd like you, if you could close your eyes just for a minute and kind of just feel into that inner child. And we're gonna take a couple of deep breaths together. Just now breathing in, breathing out. Just kind of find your center and let all the stress that you've carried on in your day, just let all of it out. And when you find that place in the center, I want you to imagine all of the things that could make you feel happy, that could make you feel excited, like that little kid right before Christmas. Just let your mind drift until you find something that really makes you feel excited, like every cell of your body is lit up. You're just so excited for this thing that's coming your way. And it doesn't have to be the one thing that is going to make everything in your life perfect, because that one thing doesn't exist. It has to be something that makes your whole body feel vibrant and excited. Alright, once you've found something that you're really excited about, I'd like you to slowly come back to the room and open your eyes. How did that feel? Yeah, you guys feeling that?
Empowering.
There you go. Exactly. And you got it. Clarity is power. And so when you are clear on what you want, then providence comes. And it's great to have a better idea of something that you want, because there's a lot of people in life who just go about their lives and they're not exactly sure what they're after. They're just kind of like running their conditioning and having that create the experience of their life. And then when you are clear on something that you really want and are excited about and are moving towards, then it's like the whole game becomes that much more clear. Cool. So now that you have an idea of something that you'd really like to have or to create in your life, now what? What do you do about it? Well, like this little guy, like there's something in his heart. You see, like he's looking for something, but he's not exactly sure how to get there. So, how does he get there? How's he gonna get there? Well, it'd be kind of useful for this little guy to have something like a roadmap, something like a plan that can help him go from his vision to creating his reality. And so, what if there was a practical way, a very simple and practical way that you could take to inch you forward towards creating your reality and the vision that you have? So the map of empowerment. What I'm about to share with you is a very simple system that you can use to do exactly that. And it's efficient because it is simple. And often, if it's not simple, then it's not really efficient. This map has, to my knowledge, never failed, unless either the person gives up on their vision, or they realize in the process that it's not really what they want, and then there's something else that makes them feel excited. So, if you're clear on your vision, then I would say stick to this plan, and only good things can come of it. So, who would like to hear?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Cool. So first, that's what we did. Clarity is power. The first step is vision. So once you have that vision, and by the way, for those of us, like myself included, the vision part was like probably my biggest challenge. And for those of us who don't really have a clear idea of something that really excites them, I suggest doing the vision exercise about 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night, right before going to bed. And just doing that every day, you'll get more clarity each day that you do it. All right, so now that we have clarity, what we need to do next? Next, you need to use your willpower and decide. You need to make a clear decision that the vision that you have imagined, that there is no other way, that the decision that you've made is final. And actually, the word decision comes from the word caer, which is a Latin root for to cut out from. And that means to cut out any other possibility than the decision that you made, to act on your vision and make it a reality. And so you kind of need to commit. You need to make a leap. And
Thank you.
and then that's kind of why I'm here tonight. Actually, like just a couple of days ago, I told Galen, like I actually did the vision exercise, and then I was like, wow, I'd love to share these tools with people. I'd love to like share it with people I love and see if it makes an impact in their life. And so I told Galen, I'm gonna do this, and he created the event, and then I couldn't back out. It's like I put myself in a place where I couldn't convince myself that I was not gonna do it. So you kind of need to decide and make that leap and make it so that you can't back out. I find that really helps. And the decision is probably the most important part of this process. Because if you kind of leave it up in the air, then you're not really committed to it. You're not really wanting it enough. But if you commit, then that's when most of your power is focused in that direction. So let's look at a famous German writer. Decide. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. At the moment one definitely commits, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would have never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man could have ever dreamed of, would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Goethe. So, if you have a little bit of a challenge, kind of like making that decision and taking that step, then I'm gonna share a tool with you that comes from NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it's pretty powerful tool. So basically, I would like you right now to kind of feel and remember the moment in your life where you felt most strong, confident, and certain. And just kind of like, you can close your eyes if you want, and just kind of like go through the memories in your life and pick a time where you felt absolutely strong. Like the whole world was yours for the taking. Like nothing could stand in your way. I know you got it, Leonard. Yeah. So once you have that feeling, once you have that memory, once you feel like all the cells in your body feel strong and confident, I want you to very simply do this motion of snapping your fingers. Okay. Now go back to that memory. Go back to that memory of feeling strong, on top of the world, unstoppable, like nothing can ever stand in your way. Feel it. Once again, snap your fingers. One more time, we're gonna go back to that memory. Feel so strong, feel so empowered. Alright. So, to explain what we just did, so basically what we did was link in our minds and make an association between that feeling of feeling extremely confident and feeling like very strong and empowered with this motion. And now, whenever you go about your day and you're feeling kind of tired and aloof and you don't really like have a particular goal or direction, you can instantly just go back to that place by triggering that neural pathway that you created in your mind. So the more often you do that exercise, the more effective the motion is going to be, because the link between the motion and the emotion is going to be that much stronger. So if you do that a lot, then you can feel lousy and instantly trigger that feeling of empowerment and feeling strong.
If you do that when you're feeling lousy too much, does it start making you feel lousy?
Yeah, there's more ways to it for sure. So that's why you gotta make the association very strong before you actually like do that for sure. Cool. And that tool is called anchoring. Anchoring.
Just out of curiosity, what if it's extraordinarily hard to find the anchor? Just because there is a lot of cross chatter on daily life.
Let's see. So you find it hard to feel the memory of feeling strong and confident? I would say then just kind of take a moment to kind of really sort through the experiences of your life until you recall moments where you feel absolutely strong. Like for me personally, that was my first Burning Man. I saw two guys punching this other guy to the ground, and I was frozen for a minute, but then my whole body just kind of like went, and it was like there was this bow and arrow, and I was the arrow, and I just shoot right towards them. And I grabbed the guy, and I just looked at him right in the eyes, and I told him, "You must leave now." And to me, that's like the experience that makes me feel very confident and strong. But if you can just find one that works for you, I would say that's probably the good one. Okay. So those two that we just did, the vision and decision, I say would be the two strongest points that we need to focus on towards gaining power and creating our reality. So next, what you need to do is actually use your power and act. And once you use your power and take action towards creating your vision, then what you need to do is reflect. So did my action bring me closer to the result that I'm seeking, or bring me further away? And it's kind of a catch-22 in a good way, because whether your action brought you closer or further away, either way you win. Because if your action took you closer, then you know what you need to do more to get closer to creating your reality. But if it took you further away, then you still got a lesson and you know what doesn't work. So now you can focus on doing something else that might work better and always improve yourself. And so, as you begin to act and reflect, how many times should you act and reflect?
Forever.
That's pretty close. That's pretty close.
All the
time. I would say until you reach the vision that you set. Until you reach your destination. And so I'd like to ask two of you who did the vision exercise, two courageous people who would like to share, and we'll see if we can run it through the system. Jericho.
I was up at you're speaking like the vision I was able to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was up on the monastery on Mount Tuam in Salt Spring. I was just guided up there and introduced to a lama that had just come over from Tibet and he didn't know English. And then at the same time, there was a doctor that works, I think he's at the Jubilee Hospital, and he's been suffering, I guess, he's been having a hard time like finding compassion and love for all the sick people. So as I was there, part of what I was doing, I was teaching the Lama to read, and it was like part of his way of bringing spirituality over to the West, I guess, and like bringing people into their empowerment. And in order to assist him on his journey, it was important that he learned how to read, so we were reading like little children's books together. And I had this overwhelming sense of empowerment from being with him in that moment and teaching him and being present with him. And then as the kind of few days went on, as this doctor was around, and he kept going to the Lama, asking him for help, but the Lama didn't know how to speak English, and they didn't really have a dialogue or anything. He ended up speaking to me periodically. And I kept offering words of wisdom and all these different things. It just like there was this, like you said, this sense came over you, and it just like it filled me with so much energy, and it was giving all the right answers and all the right things. And that was a moment that I'll go back to periodically when I forget my power and I forget my light, and kind of in that weakness state of forgetting who I am. And that's one of the key moments that was important for me to kind of lift myself up. And I've been able to, the same, in a different way I use it, but I'm able to find that strength from just remembering that moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was for the anchoring one, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What about the vision exercise, like something that you're looking forward to, something that you'd like to kind of like accomplish?
I don't know how to put that into words.
Oh, okay. It's all good.
My favorite part about the holidays was the meal, like the turkey and gravy and stuff. And like the sharing with the family and friends and stuff was part of it too. But it was almost like that clicking thing was like every time I'd have turkey, it would be that click because it wasn't just Christmas. It was like Easter and Thanksgiving and New Year's and everything too. So turkey turned into that clicking for like family belonging, participating kind of thing.
Okay.
So that was my vision of you asked what as a kid am I excited about for Christmas was the meal with everyone.
Okay. Okay. Just to make that clear. So basically the like allegory of being like your inner child at 7 or 8 and is so excited. It's kind of like that state of mind that you want to be when you vision what you want for your life.
Yeah, I could say that applies too. I want to feel that family connectedness that I had around the turkey table.
Oh, awesome. Cool. So let me ask you a question then. How committed are you to creating that feeling?
It takes more than one for that to realize itself, so I guess I'm as committed as anyone else would be. If, you know, it's sort of like a mutual thing. I guess it sort of has to build.
Well, so even if your whole blood family didn't want that, even if like I'm just speaking by kind of example, I have no idea, but even if your whole blood family didn't want that, would you say that if you were committed to creating that feeling of sharing with a family around the dinner table, kind of like what we're doing here in a way, if you were committed, do you think that you could create that experience for yourself?
Yes.
Cool. And now, once you have decided that that's what you want to create in your life, then you need to take action on it and ask yourself, what could I do to create that experience?
Do you want me to answer you?
If you have any ideas, yeah.
Get a job, definitely.
Turkey.
Yep.
Better move to the southern states.
Totally, and so basically right now after having this discussion and running your desire through this sequence once, how much closer do you feel than before the start of tonight?
Maybe I didn't take a step closer, but maybe I turned more towards the right direction.
Exactly, and that's the part where clarity is power. When you know what you want, then you've empowered yourself to take the steps in that direction. Cool. Scott, was it?
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, I had a real strong moment of empowerment that came up to me after the exercise, in fact. It happened 17 years ago while I was in Vancouver on my way to Kitsilano, where I was living. This moment of empowerment came from the man who was just about to jump from the bridge. And in a moment, I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? And people were just passing by, and nobody was able to witness this man. And something came so strong in me that said, no, you're going to stay, and you're going to respond to this situation. And he said, back off. If you come any closer, I'll jump. And I said, you jump, I jump. In the moment, there were this kind of bond of trust that created this discussion out of nowhere. And that night, I said the man. But what I realized is that it was not so much him as a reflection of me, because I was going through the same shit than this guy, with all the details included. Panic attack, problem with addiction, everything, the list goes on. And I picked the phone the day after to talk to the medicine man I was, working with. That was the beginning of my journey on the red path. And he said, "You didn't save the man. You saved yourself, your soul." And it was so beautiful. It was so simple. I haven't done much. I was just present in the moment. And I was there to witness this man and support him to take another direction in his life. And it was just amazing. And every time I have a chance to do something similar, it doesn't need to be big, doesn't need to be known, I feel the same sense of empowerment. It's amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, right?
Thank you.
There's room on the floor in front. Please do come. Alright.
Awesome. So let's just kind of review and recap what we did so far. So this system is very simple, but it's a practical system that you can use for empowerment, to empower yourself. And it enables you to kind of have a roadmap to go from having a dream or a vision to creating the reality that you want. Awesome. Cool. So that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, good for you guys. So now that we've done this, are you home free? Are you
Home free?
Are you home free?
What does that mean?
It means
You're good.
are you good?
Oh,
Reference to baseball.
I could venture that like at the end of this talk we're gonna mingle and like have conversations, and by the end of tomorrow probably most of us are gonna forget all about it. So
Maybe it's a bad
Hold on to
attitude.
that.
okay, good.
Hold
to
your
hear.
vision.
Good to hear. But I would say that this is just where the deepest part of the work actually starts. And to do the deepest part of the work, I would say that we need to transform and change, look at some of our beliefs. Uncovering our beliefs. So, beliefs are associations. Associations that we made that are either empowering us or disempowering us. And let's say a 3-year-old is on a table and kind of walks around the edges and all of a sudden falls off. It gets hurt and cries and it's in a lot of pain. And the kid might very well associate the pain to the table. And all of a sudden starts avoiding tables and sees tables and cries. But eventually it kind of figures out that no, it's not the table, it's me like falling off the table that really hurt. So some of the beliefs and associations that we've made are kind of running the show of our life because they set the tone of us making decisions. And some of our beliefs aren't actually helping us. So, for example, like smoking. I'm a smoker on and off. And when I go outside and have a cigarette, often for me the pleasure of kind of inhaling the smoke and just kind of like, just like relaxing is more real to me in that moment than the image of like going outside, taking a deep breath of fresh air, feeling how clean my lungs are and feeling how grateful I am for my health. So for me in that moment when I'm having a smoke, the pleasure of the cigarette is more real than just going outside and taking a breath of fresh air and feeling grateful for my lungs. So those are kind of like examples of associations. And to take a look at our beliefs, something I would like to encourage is that we take a little trip back in time, a few thousand years, to Buddhism. Whoops. Let's skip the few slides here. Cool. Well, let's look at the definition of belief then. Belief is something one accepts as true or real, a firmly held opinion or conviction. All right. Now let's, we'll look deeper into this in a moment, but for now, just remember that to empower ourselves, we are aiming to reprogram our beliefs. Now let's take a trip back. So let's look at some of the traditional definitions of Buddhism. Karma. What is karma? Karma is not fate or predestination. Literally, karma means action or to do. Does it sound familiar? Literally, the definition of power for those of you who weren't here is to do something in a particular way or to act in a particular way. So, from using our power, we take action, and karma is action or to do. So action itself is considered neither good nor bad, but only the intention and thought make it so. Thus karma is an intentional, conscious, deliberate, and willful action. Karma is both action and volition, the will behind the action. So every action must have a reaction, i.e. an effect. The truth applies both to physical world, expressed by the great physicist Isaac Newton, or to the moral world. The law of karma is an important application of the principle of cause and effect. What is the principle of cause and effect? The law of causality. As one sows, so shall one reap. Every effect arises from a cause. Under certain conditions, a cause will come to an effect or reaction. This is a universal principle on which Buddhist morality is based. So, a well-known saying in Buddhism is, if you want to know the causes in your past life, the way you live at present is the effect of your past life. If you want to know what your future life will be, what you do at present is the cause of your future life. So basically, what it means is, in the anterior incarnation, the actions that we've taken have reactions in this incarnation. And in this incarnation, the actions that we take have effects or reactions in the future incarnations, ultimately leading to destination or destiny. All right, taking back the power of our mind. As it turns out, our minds operate in a similar way to the law of cause and effect. First, there are beliefs, then beliefs create thoughts, thoughts reaction, and ultimately destination or destiny. So, out of those three principles of belief, thought, and reaction, which one would you say is the most empowering one to take control of?
Belief.
Great. Glad you guys are following. Yeah, our beliefs.
Just out of curiosity, what if you consistently run into things that counteract your belief, despite the fact that you're trying to angle yourself in a direction that is in accordance with your beliefs?
Do you have an example? Like something keeps happening and...
Well, I of course work as a healthcare assistant for a company that takes care of people varying all from people with dementia to people with simple broken arms. There's some situations where people really don't want to help. They're just not wanting to, despite the fact that you're angled so very strategically in trying to help them. But consistently there's things that obstruct that redirect you and force you in another direction.
Yeah. So the tricky thing with that is that changing your beliefs is one thing, but changing someone else's beliefs is something that you can't do. Like encouraging them to change. You can encourage them to change. It's kind of like that saying, you can take a horse to the river, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like your own beliefs you have power over, but the beliefs of other people around you you can influence at best.
I guess I'm getting confused with the environment that I'm within and the belief that I have.
Do you believe you need to help everyone? Not
Kinda,
just,
yeah.
not
Try
just the
to.
people that show up to your clinic?
Well, I don't work in a clinic, I go to people's homes, but I guess the unfortunate problem for me is I believe I have to help anyone.
Okay.
That's a
So-
major belief you can work on.
So seeing people that don't want your help hasn't changed your belief.
I think
Is that the case?
Well,
You've seen people that don't want your help, and that conflicts with your belief.
well, it's not just people not wanting help. For instance, there will be someone, because some of these people don't know where they are. They have no idea what's going on. And so there's other people that are a part of the sequence of assistance, and you're trying to communicate with them, and it just does not facilitate the proper reaction. And so you're trying to sit there, focus on the solution. Someone else is there trying to focus on some other solution, and despite the fact that the communication is trying to exist, it's just not happening.
Yeah,
That's an instinctual thing.
that would be a pretty tricky situation for sure.
So can I
Oh,
offer
yeah.
something, Dan?
Yeah.
So just excluding you're under a set of peculiar circumstances. For example, someone with dementia or someone who literally they forget things every 10 seconds. But just in general, when it comes to in the things I've studied, especially just with regards to communication and a few well-placed questions aimed directly at the foundation of someone's beliefs can get that person to then turn their eyes inwards and actually think about the foundation of their beliefs, and you can a few well-placed questions and you can pretty much undermine someone's entire belief system.
I do get
Socratic method.
Exactly. Yeah.
be ready to face the triggers though.
I do get that. It's just it does get really awkward.
Right. I hear that.
You're walking on eggshells.
Totally.
I think
What job do you do? Sorry. You said your work is relevant. Like a paramedic or something? You
Healthcare
say
Like a
assistant.
home care nurse, like an assistant.
Oh, okay.
I think if you're in that situation, out of your highest intention, if you're trying your best, that's ultimately what you can be doing, and then leading by example in that circumstance, right? And hopefully it's infectious and people can feel the truth and the love and the things that you're trying to do, right? And maybe they can become more cognizant by observing that and kind of apply it. And the more that you practice it and then display it in front of other people, that it can hopefully change.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not in the worst situation.
But in the circumstance where you're being tested with your own beliefs, if you've created conviction that is coming from a higher capacity of a state of love and wanting to help, and there's other people that aren't necessarily in that state and they're causing the discrepancies, right? Ask yourself, it's what is it in that circumstance that you can tangibly do, right? Within the limitations of the environment and the things that you're doing too. And it's just keep trying as best as you can, right? And that's really ultimately what you can do. And then, like you said, you can't necessarily change someone else's beliefs, but hopefully they can.
Reflect on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And that's
It's to thyself be true. How
Right.
true can you be to yourself in those exchanges? How honest and vulnerable can you be with someone who's burnt out or stressed out and say, I can see you're really stressed out and this is frustrating for you, and I see that, and I want you to know that I see that in you. And it could just having their own feelings acknowledged is incredibly powerful. So you've not just helped the client, you've helped the compadre.
Moving past the ego self and then by that approach.
There's a book you might want to read called Meet Me in Hard to Love Places.
Oh, nice.
It'll help you communicate in those situations more productively, I guess you could say. Nonviolent communication.
Mm-hmm.
Kat did a lovely talk on one of our earlier firesides. Something I'm learning.
That's fun as well, right? Cool. Well, thanks for sharing, Dan.
Daniel.
Dan.
Most people shorten it, but
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Alright. So let's see. Buddha said, all that we are is the result of all that we have taught. And I would venture to say that when you do change and uncover the beliefs that you have, that whether they're empowering you or disempowering you, when you uncover those beliefs and you change those beliefs and take control of them, then you also change your thoughts. And by changing your thoughts, you also change your reactions. And by changing your reactions, you also change who you are. And so I just want to kind of voice how strong of a decision changing our beliefs are. Cool. So some examples of beliefs that aren't serving you. For me, I don't know about you guys, but in high school there was this like saying going around when I first started driving that if you run a red light and you punch the ceiling of the car, that gives you 10 minutes more to your sex life. And
I heard it was a yellow light.
Yellow light was 5, red light was 10. But yeah, it I don't know if it's helped me, but
Go figure.
You tell me you're not doing like a scientific study on this.
You don't want to know.
Can someone lend me their keys?
No.
Does it apply when you ride your bike?
Only if you live.
yeah, I don't know if it's helped me, but I sure got a fine from it. So, but yeah, so that's an example of like a belief or association that isn't really helping you. So an empowering one for me, I kind of made a belief when I was younger that being strong and healthy and having vitality was one of the best things that I could do for myself. And so by having that belief, I go to the gym frequently. I do Qigong with the guys every week, and I feel stronger than I ever have. So I feel like that's a belief that in me has empowered me to kind of move further. Great. So I feel like we're kind of running a little long, so I'll just showing things and just kind of telling you that if on your own time, if you want to kind of run that exercise of like having your vision and then seeing what beliefs you have. Let's say you want to lose 10 pounds, and the stronger belief is that chocolate is so good. That's a belief that isn't really serving you. Isn't really giving you closer to your goal of dropping 10 pounds.
Can I offer something else?
Yeah.
I've lost 15
Because
on the Snickers diet.
Like I don't believe chocolate is so good, but I love chocolate. So eating chocolate serves me. What I want to say is that I think it really is up to the individual what serves them and their beliefs, and for them to choose if it serves them or not.
If your goal is to lose 10 pounds, loving chocolate doesn't serve you.
Well, I think it's possible to lose
Depends
weight
on
while
what.
eating chocolate.
Yeah, what kind of
Depends on
chocolate?
You can have the cake and eat it too.
Sure. But what I mean is the belief that chocolate is good. You can still love chocolate and not eat chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like the strongest belief is chocolate is really good and I love it. But for me, what's even better is committing to my diet, committing to my dream and my goal. And so every person has probably a different vision of something they'd like to experience. And I think what I'm saying here is it's a good it's a good idea to have beliefs that are in line with the vision that you want to create.
Contrary to chocolate being a bad thing, chocolate isn't actually the problem, it's what's put in the
The sugar.
Yeah. Crazier.
Do you love the taste of raw cocoa bean?
That sounds like the start of like some sort of commercial. You love the taste of raw cocoa bean?
I think, like, for this, for example, right, like, even if it's about losing weight, if this is, like, a goal that somebody has set, right, and so then chocolate is the issue because they're eating sweets all the time, I think then it's more looking into the beliefs that are actually preventing the person from maybe not eating the chocolate, which could be, like, I don't have enough self-control to, like, withstand this temptation. That could be a belief, for example, that somebody could hold that might not serve them in that moment, right? Because then they could choose, no, I actually believe I have enough strength to do so, right? And so I don't think it's necessarily to believe, like, chocolate is good or I love chocolate. That's actually, I mean, who doesn't love chocolate? Maybe some people actually don't love it, and that's fine. Yeah, but I think it's more beliefs that are actually, like, the block, you know?
Right on. That's a good point. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Totally.
So in the future, none of our speakers will ever malign chocolate again. I'm really sorry about this. I should have warned you. I didn't realize this would be so controversial.
Okay. I need a band too.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna sacrifice a lot of chocolate bars.
Cool. So awesome. Well, let's just recap quickly. So let's just look at it once again. The formula of success is first you have your vision and the experience that you want to create. Then you decide and commit and cut every other possibility. You commit to making those actions, to going and creating the reality that you want to accomplish. And then you act and you reflect. Is this action taking me closer or further away from creating the reality that I want? And let's remember the anchoring, being strong, feeling empowered, feeling like unstoppable. You guys feel powerful? Do you guys feel powerful? Yeah. Their power, it's over 9,000. Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you.
As Daniel was saying, trying to find that that experience of being empowered. Maybe you won't be able to find it in that 30 seconds we took that time to find it. Maybe meditation or something to
Exactly. And like for me that was kind of like my hardest piece of that equation, of that formula, was the vision. And I found that doing it like 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night, I feel clearer every day.
Yep. You could do anything though, like you'd snap, you could slap yourself in the face just to remind you and have that connection.
Yeah, so it can be anything.
Yeah. Everyone way to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
And just like playing guitar or something.
Totally.
The only reason I mention that is just because I do a lot of stuff to try and find that peaceful moment. Some of it just really doesn't work. And even with meditation, sometimes just all across chatter, just
Yeah. So it's a good idea to kind of like have like a frequent kind of meditation practice, but not like focusing on like feeling a certain way, but focusing on kind of like feeling calm and feeling like your mind is clear. I found Vipassana is a good one for that. It worked pretty good for me. But yeah, that's definitely something that is very helpful when you can still your mind before envisioning something that you like.
Can I offer something?
Yeah.
So to carry the metaphor of the anchor a little further, so the storm is ripped your anchor line off. Can you trust the storm to deliver you somewhere that might be beneficial to you or to the universe? Can you trust it to push you where it wants you? Or no? You always have to be in control of your mental state and everything?
No, trusting that's powerful. What you're touching on is the most powerful thing. But step with confidence, the path will rise to meet you, as the creed would say. But like faith is power, and trusting that there is a current carrying you, and trusting that current that will take you places. That will unlock the universe.
Let's go.
Okay, so with this vision, I find that when I'm setting goals and stuff, if I put a time limit on it, it can get a bit confusing because if I don't accomplish my vision by this time goal, then it's disempowering. But then if I don't set a time goal, I can go astray sometimes. So do you have any tips for finding that happy medium with setting
Definitely.
time?
Definitely. I feel like definitely like when you set a time limit on a goal that you want to accomplish, you are kind of putting this arbitrary line in time where I need to do this before this like arbitrary like deadline that I've set myself. And I would say that the most important thing in that situation is making the second step very strong, like making that decision and committing to the goal that you want. And the more committed you are, the more every second that you have that's free, you're gonna want to put it towards making that happen. And so that's, I find, is even more powerful than setting a like arbitrary deadline. It's because when you have enough desire to want to make that vision come true, then it's like your whole energy is focused in that direction, and that makes things happen much quicker than they would if you're only slightly committed.
Yeah, makes sense.
And be realistic. You know, like if you set yourself a deadline that is not actually achievable, and so I think you want to spend some time in actually looking at how long it will actually take, and also look at those things that are outside of your control, because if there's certain things that you cannot control, and they then you don't achieve them because of that, then it's not because of you, but it is because of you if you haven't set a realistic deadline. You know. So if I want to build a house and I say, yeah, by tomorrow. Like being real about what's achievable.
And being more specific too, like building a house comes in many steps.
Exactly, and then really like planning out all the steps that it takes to, and then it comes with practice to know how long things actually take. You know.
SMART goals. Specific,
Exactly.
measurable, attainable, realistic, timely.
You got
That's it.
I'd love to add a concept. Something that's been very powerful for me came from a book written by a teacher of mine called From Squeak to Roar. And the concept is willingness versus readiness. Or like, sure, you can have a vision in mind and a goal, and you can be willing. And to be willing to do something is a personal decision. It's like, yeah, it's that decision you can make on your own end. But there's a readiness. The readiness is actually like a divine decision that you don't necessarily always have control over, and it can cause you a lot of frustration if you're like, so like, if you have this goal or this vision that you're just like so attached to, but realistically, like if you take a hard objective look, you're not ready. You're not ready to either A, put in the work to do the thing, or even be in a strong enough and grounded enough, receptive enough state to even receive the fruits of those labors. And that ultimately, so readiness is a divine decision that happens precisely when it needs to, assuming, you know, you believe in that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just helped me a lot, because like I've definitely struggled with that whole like being willing but not being ready, but being so frustrated that I'm not ready, and then just, you know, downward spiral from there. And then when you learn how to like, you know, let go, detach, and just accept where you're at, and then trust that God will, that the stars will align precisely when they're meant to. And then boom, when it happens, and it happens fast.
Yeah,
You know?
totally. and like the thing about power is what is actually under your control and what isn't. And what isn't under your control, then you don't have power over it. You can't decide for that. And so basically in readiness, the thing that you have power over is whether or not you trust the process. And that's the one thing you have.
Well, if you know that you're not ready for something, then what are the steps that you need to take to get ready? You know, if you want to start a business but you have no knowledge about business, it might be good to take a business course.
Totally.
Raz?
Yeah, to expand on that and to answer your question, there is in kind of coaching practices two things. There are what we call the outcome-based goals and the behavior-based goals. And back on your example, I want to lose 10 pounds would be the outcome, for which basically oftentimes you have no control over, because there's so many factors. You know, there's a social, environmental factor, so many different factors. And for that, there's nothing you can do about it. But behavior-based goal oftentimes are the one you have full agency over, and for which you can fully apply and commit yourself to. Back to your example of losing 10 pounds. It'd be
conduct. And the principle behind it is that our individual actions ripple out and serve the world. So when we strive for a noble action in any circumstance, it impacts the whole world. And the goals that we set, there's this element of service to humanity. Do our goals serve the greater good? How will this goal serve the betterment of society? And I just wanted to bring that element into the conversation. That there's this great, incredible empowerment when we have common thought and common vision. That we're not alone in setting these goals. That to create goals together is thrilling when they serve something greater. Like tonight, like the Vaile House, I just love coming here. I love meeting all of you. I love that there's this space that's been created, that we can have these talks and really connect and hear each other. And I want to hear your goals. I want to hear what you're going through. I want to share myself and my life and my vision with you and share and be so happy that we've been acquainted with each other through this wonderful space and vision that Galen and everyone has here. It's happening right now, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you, Vaile House. Galen, the brilliant mastermind behind this operation.
One of them.
Thank all you guys for being here.
Yes, thank you all. Anil, myself, Kat, we're the true hosts, so if you need anything, please come to us. But from here on out, it's going to be our usual soiree. There's acoustic guitars if anybody wants them. There's food. There's this room. There's that room. There's a chill space upstairs. So don't feel confined to this one, but this room is definitely the comfy one of conversation. So